Well, if I could get that off the screen, what's up? What's good? What's happening, everybody? Welcome to the Sports Bar here at WTF Nation Radio and U.S. Army WTF Moments. I am the actual King Smith, and co-hosting the Sports Bar with me today is my main man, Coach. Coach, let the people know something.
What do you hear? What do you say? Oh, it's a Sunday night. The final games of the opening rounds are finally on, the round of 32. I'm watching Clemson and Baylor. Baylor has finally made it a game with 6 minutes left with less than 6 points deficit with less than 4 minutes left. Alabama and Grand Canyon State are tied up right now, and they're in a TV timeout. UConn is right now playing, and they've got the early lead against some scrub team that nobody really cares about because UConn's just going to blow them out. And I'm doing great this Sunday. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well. Been on the road here over the weekend. Just got back in town not too long ago. Did not want to uh shiest the sports people and the sports fan here at WTF Nation Radio. So through thick and thin, hell and high water, we made a show happen tonight, and I am thankful to be here. But before we get off into the show, Coach, we're gonna do
Yes,
a
sir.
quick bit of marketing. If you can let the people know about the other shows that we have here at WTF Nation Radio, we can get that kicked off, and then we'll get into today's live stream. Go ahead, Coach.
Well, let's go ahead and do it. So, ladies and gentlemen, we come to you live on the U.S. Army WTF Moments and WTF Nation Radio 6 nights a week. That starts with us on Sunday at the Sports Bar. Then we move into Monday with Ice, and he is going to be bringing to you the Monday edition, talking some mad smack about what's going on in the government and everything that's happening within the world of the military every Monday. And on Tuesday, our boy CQ and Mad Mike are back with another pop culture warrior. And pop culture warrior, obviously, as you all know, brings the best and the brightest guests that are out there in pop culture. You guys can listen into their interviews, the topics of the days, and everything that's happening. Personally, on pop culture, I just found out that the kid who was pulling his pud out there in Game of Thrones remake House of Dragons, I just found out that he's Doctor Who's kid. Yeah, kid you not. That's the way that things run out there. But that's the stuff that they're talking about on Pop Culture Warrior. On Wednesday, Radar and TZ have the Smoke Pit, a 2.5-hour bullshit session. Had a great guest on last week for Yes, I Am a Veteran podcast. Miss Brandy was on there. If you haven't checked her out, checked out. If you haven't checked her out, oh, that's not a good one. Yeah, sorry about that for any of you feminists that are listening here. That was a slip of the tongue. What I meant to say is if you have not checked out Yes, I Am a Veteran podcast, please go ahead and do so. Brandy does some great shows over there talking about women's issues with being a veteran and great stuff that she has. But that's what TZ and Radar have for you every Wednesday on the Smoke Pit. Sarn's Time, back with Ice and Spanky. Yes, Spanky came back last Thursday, and they brought back everything that was happening with our recall. Oh, thank God Coach has already got his DD-214 set up where he ain't going to be recalled. They ain't going to let crazy fucks like me back in, thank God. So I've dodged that bullet, but if you want to stay abreast of what's happening within the military as well as what's going on at the U.S. Army Mold Center of Excellence, please check out Sarge's Time on Thursday. And I am imploring everybody to check out this week's Friday Night Freedom with Cause. It'll be on 8 o'clock on U.S. Army WTF Moments and WTF Nation Radio across Facebook, X, Kick, and YouTube. Definitely check out Friday Night Freedom this week. Kaz has got some things that he definitely wants to talk about, and I strongly suggest everybody, in fact, all the hosts that are watching, everybody that is out there that is watching right now and everything, check out Friday Night Freedom this Friday. Let's make this Friday Night Freedom the highest rated show in U.S. Army WTF Moments history, which is what, like 50 or 60,000 or something like that. So let's get that up real high for him. But you know what? For everybody else, hey, let's go ahead and get those numbers up on high too. Like, share, comment, do whatever the heck you want with these videos, whatever page it is, either the sports bar page, US Army WTF Moments, or WTF Nation Radio across of our social medias, our platforms. Go ahead, share our stuff because we're coming to you live 6 nights a week here on WTF Nation Radio. Yes, King. We good to go, buddy? Holy God, there's a name from the past I haven't heard in a while. Mr. Blaine, if you're still there. Hello, sir.
Well, I am good to go now, and thanks to some of the associate producers here, we were not live on the WTF Nation Radio. I'm sorry, the U.S. Army WTF Moments Facebook page now, but I have since fixed that, so we should be
So
good to
now we're
go.
live. Now we're back live on Facebook on WTF, but or on US Army WTF. Are we on the radio page live too?
We are live on the radio page, but for some reason, it's still not connecting. This sucks.
Yeah. How are we
Yeah,
looking on YouTube?
we're
I know
good
we're
on YouTube.
broadcasting on the sports bar. So if you guys are, and the main group of people that watch it are on both of those pages. So we definitely got to get that up and running. Hey, let me ask this question, seeing that technically we still got about 10 minutes. I mean, we can kind of do a restart if we want to do it again. I got no problem
Yeah,
doing it.
don't know. I should be able to just click on and off. I tell you what, while I fix that,
Yeah, absolutely.
I take the time to talk to the audience, man. I'll be right back.
Absolutely, not a problem at all, King. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you are not watching right now to the NCAA tournaments, Baylor is now down 6 to Clemson with less than 3 minutes left to go. Baylor's got the ball. Alabama is now up by 5 on Grand Canyon University with about a minute left to go in the first half. UConn is up by 7 on Northwestern with 15 to go. That game's going to be a blowout. For those of you that don't know the scores, Duke was victorious over JMU 93 to 55. Houston and Texas A&M will be coming on TNT at 8:40 this evening. San Diego State and Yale will be coming on at 9:40 on TBS. And Marquette beat Colorado 81 to 77. And Purdue blew out Utah State 106 to 67. This Edey kid that is on Purdue, everybody keeps thinking that this kid, even though he's the national player of the year, is not going to make a good pro. Part of me thinks that this Edey kid is actually going to bring his team over to the Final Four. I have him picked right now in the Final Four. I have Purdue. A lot of people are not picking Purdue. They're not confident in them. I think they're going to get to the Final Four. I sure as heck hope they do, because I had them beating Kentucky, and of course Kentucky screwed us over, most of us over on that first night. So one thing that has come out throughout the NCAA tournament, and if you all see this about what we've been transpiring over the last several games, is that the teams that have had the experienced players, I'm talking about your juniors and your seniors, your teams that have returning starters, not these one and done teams. They have done pretty well in the NCAA tournament. You look at UConn, and now they've extended their streak of winning by more than 10 points for the NCAA games, and they've done phenomenal throughout this tournament as well. And it looks like they're doing well again tonight, as now up 11 on Northwestern. The Cinderella teams were obviously all packed with seniors, and a lot of these teams that ended up getting upset, and I'm specifically talking about Kentucky. Kentucky is nothing but a Calipari-owned factory for one-and-done players to get their year of eligibility done, get as much NIL money as possible, and in the time of crisis, if they're down or if they're ever losing, they're going to try to shoot threes back in the day, just like they did back in the day in an AAU, to try to make up the score. Unfortunately, they're playing against bigger, stronger, faster opponents than they did in the AAU teams. So that style of play with these one and dones has really hurt a lot of the more perennial teams that are doing this. We're not seeing a lot of the one and done factories doing well here. Kentucky being the big one. I'm seeing this right now that Colorado, there is a kid on Colorado who should be playing in the NBA already right now. And they had a decent game within the first round, but Colorado could have done a lot better throughout. This year's NCAA tournament, I believe, is going to be when we get down to the Final Four. Obviously, we're going to have the four best teams within the college ranks on for the Final Four. But that being said, what I believe we're going to end up seeing is we're going to see the most experienced teams be the ones that are there, the ones who have this experience. I don't think we're going to see a Cinderella make it into the Final Four. You're looking at a 3 seed at the most between, let's just go with Baylor, UConn, Houston. I'm even going with Purdue. Those are going to be the obvious safe bets that are going to be happening, and Carolina as well. So I would tell you, it wouldn't surprise me if, just like in 2008, we saw all chalk going right into the Final Four, and that was the first time that ever happened before that. So I have now done a little bit of history, kind of caught everything up on the NCAA tournament quick, fast, and in a hurry, is just talking about it with zero interaction. I take it we are not live on the WTF Nation radio page or the U.S. Army WTF Moments?
No, we're live on all of the ones. The one that we weren't on was U.S. Army WTF Moments. We're live there now, but in kind of a jerry-rigged way. So we're not going to see the comments from people coming in unless you have it up on a separate page.
Well, I may have it up on a separate page here in a couple of minutes, so I might be able to see what's coming in on the comments, and I'll run over on that if we don't have anything. Is it the same thing with WTF Nation Radio as well with the comments?
No, that one was that's good to go.
All right,
the ones that you see up on the screen are those who are watching there.
Awesome.
So yeah,
awesome. Not a problem on that. All right, so yeah, give me a couple minutes and we'll watch at the end of this. Oh man, Clemson is up by 4. This guy, this point guard, decided he was going to take a shot all the way from the NCAA March Madness logo and missed it. No, he missed it, but the long offensive rebound went right over to one of his players, got the thing back. Right now, we've got a 4-point game with 1:25 to go. Clemson is up by 4 over number 3 Baylor. And they just called a blocking foul on Baylor. So nope, I take it back. They did call it an offensive foul. I got to put the captions on the wrong one, on the right TV. But Baylor has been playing sloppy. Baylor has not been playing controlled, and Clemson has been. Well, they've been playing really controlled during this game. They're not making lots of turnovers. They're making stops on defense. That's a second straight block, even though they have just turned it over. I believe he actually fouled them on that turnover. Yep, he did. So that's a foul. Never mind. But yeah, what the fuck were we talking about?
well, I was about to ask you a question.
Thing. Yes.
Have you ever heard of a spladle? Have you ever been spladled?
Spladled?
Yes, sir. You heard what I said. Have you ever been spladled, Coach?
All right. In the words of Paulie Walnuts, what the fuck is that supposed to mean?
Well, there was a wrestling video going viral of a man getting spladled. Now, I did find a video. I was able to download it. And I'm going to check it out.
Was it on LimeWire? Did you find it on LimeWire?
What you think? Cornhub.com.
Oh, dear God.
Let's check this video of the spladle.
Don't blame it on King. Let's see. With the spladle.
Looks like a spladle. We got a spladle. Yep, we've got the count going.
I'm so uncomfortable.
In the quarterfinals. Man.
And there is nowhere Hardy can go from this position, and the clock just continues to tick.
And you're just right. You cannot stalemate this. When someone's in near fall criteria,
What's the ref looking at?
There's no stalemate in this at all.
His balls.
Mendez pulled everything out of his tool chest. He's just gotten so much better, and he had to use it all against a competitor like Hardy.
Get down up in there, ain't you, ref?
Bonus points here. He'll get
Last
the
time
4
I
near
saw
fall,
somebody in a
and
position
the
like
riding
this was
time
that
makes it
baseball that
10-2,
was on
which helps
Howard
Ohio
Stern.
State.
You can just see the helplessness on the face of Brock Hardy.
Yeah, there's a couple of things about this position right here that I want to point out. There is no way, if I'm ever spladled, that I am going to then end that match and we're still going to be wrestling. If I get spladled, that wrestling match is turning into a boxing match because I'm gonna have to throw some hands if you got me into that position. And he's just sitting there comfortable. And the fact that it's called a spladle is hilarious.
I mean, look, I've seen the cross-face chicken wing. I've seen the sharpshooter. I've seen the, label lock. I've seen a whole bunch of different wrestling holds and things like that. I have never seen a spladle. Okay, and I say this as maybe because Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is what I'm around a little bit more. I mean, I've seen some ridiculous crap. I've seen my son pull off two freaking consecutive and fucking effective flying arm bars. I've seen some ridiculous moves where people are in somebody's gooch and like smelling their taint the entire time to submit. But I have never seen somebody who is in the position where he looks like he's about to receive an entire billiard ball set right up his cornhole. I mean, no. How the fuck did that ever happen?
So you've never been
That's
spladled.
all I want to know. I have never been spladled, and nor do I ever want to get spladled.
And take a look at the ref. Like the ref looks like he's enjoying this position, like he's smelling it going.
Ladies and gentlemen, we need to realize that wrestling referees are by far the biggest pedophile group. If we ever looked at them and looked into their internet search history, I am pretty definite that we would either find something about Donald Trump or something about little boys. Guarantee you. You don't get a job like that looking at something like that all day just because you really want to.
Man, and hey, hold on. I have an even better view of the spladling that I'm about to display here on the TV. Take a look at it right there. How's that image, coach?
Wow.
Hey,
that looks like if you just look at the red, it looks like a hot dog coming out of a bun.
Man.
But I mean, what is that guy like looking at? Is he trying to look for shoulders, or is he like, looking for polyps? By the way, Baylor is down 6 right now. They are about to hoist up a 3 and not go in. Clemson's got the ball with 6-point lead, 8.3 seconds left. Baylor just fouled. Clemson's going on to the line. Looks like Clemson is advancing to the Sweet 16.
Right. Nice, man. I appreciate.
Now we turn it on UConn, and UConn is blowing them out. So let's go on U.S. Army WTF moments and say hi to everybody.
All right. And while you do that, I am going to queue up our next video. So this next video, it was sent to me by a viewer of the show, and I looked at it and go, the balls you have to pull off something like this. Let's take a look. Apparently the video's not showing. We're having a bit of a struggle stream moment, Coach. Coach, are you still there?
Yeah, I couldn't. I couldn't. Yeah, I couldn't say anything to you because the video was playing. But I was like, "Yeah, dude, I don't even know what the fuck I'm watching. I'm hearing somebody doing burnouts, but we couldn't see shit."
All right. Well, the struggle stream is in full effect
Shit.
today. We're gonna try this again.
Fuck me. You can't hear me?
What happened, Coach? I can hear you. We can hear you.
No, I don't know what the hell's happening. All right, good.
Okay. All right, so let's try this one more time. And share audio sound. Here we go. That last flip was the one that made me go, nope, I don't have the balls to do anything that rider was doing in that monster truck, man. That right there, the level of cojones you would need to decide, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna do a full 360 and land on this rail in this truck is insane. Insane.
That's some white people shit if I've ever seen it in my life.
You think so?
My God almighty. Oh my God almighty.
Could you do
There
it?
ain't a man. Could I do it? I mean, look, I would drive a car like that. I don't think I'd be able to do a flip like that. I'd take that thing over landing, but never, maybe do a couple, maybe try a flip once on accident.
Would you be willing to be in the passenger seat while the professional was doing all of the driving? I like doing stuff.
Oh, hell
like
yeah.
that. I don't know if I could, man. I don't know if I could.
Oh, hell yeah, I would. I would love doing that. Absolutely.
More power to you, man.
I would absolutely do that, man. Hell yeah. Yeah, and you know why I would do it?
Why's that?
Because why the fuck not?
You know, I'm down for roller coasters. I've jumped out of a plane twice. I like doing some daredevil-y stuff.
Why you fucking scary?
Hey,
You got.
Hey, look, y'all jump masters and all of that stuff. Y'all can have that life. CQ of Pop Culture Warrior, he has the solo jumps. My two jumps were tandem jumps because ain't no way I'm doing that ish solo. No, thank you. Couldn't do it.
Come on, it ain't that bad.
Like I said, I would do some things,
that bad.
but I ain't jumping out of a plane solo by myself. I'm gonna need an expert to make sure that the rig's all packed and everything, and I'm gonna need them to pull. Nope.
Brother, it ain't that bad. It ain't that bad.
Coach, we've talked about kids.
It ain't bad at all. It was a hell of a lot better.
Now, Coach, we've talked about kids on this show in the past and how young you should be training your kid if you want them to be the next great athlete. And I saw this kid and what he was doing, and I'm like, man, if anything, this guy is going to be the next future Jerry Rice. And I'm going to bring up the video here, man. I want you to take a look and tell me what you think. All right. Got to do this different since the videos don't want to be displayed. Here.
Oh, God.
And this 6-year-old going through drills. But I'm not surprised. He got on us the Stephon Diggs jersey. He's 6 years old getting in and out of these cuts, and he's literally got 3 times his current life to get even crispier. Yup. Look at him. He's not even making the receiver noises yet. Wait till you see what he's like when he unlocks those powers. Get to the DB's toes and stay flat down the line. Give me another rep. Eyes straight back to the quarterback. Look at him working the crack. He already see the vision. I'm going to take him here. Got him. Give me the ball. I'm going. Weak jam. Slide. This next generation of receiver is going to be crazy. I hope the D-line invents some new moves. Because there's no way DB is going to be able to keep up with this for 4 seconds. Pinky's down. Sneed it. And I'm going to get some more yards. He's learning a 3-step rocker at the same age I learned a 3-point stance. Another low ball. Sneed it. I missed it. Nope, I got it. And I finished in the rep. You let me get him on 5 stars. It's over.
Telling you, that move that was in there, the moon, 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 that's the move right there. That's crucial. If you can master the moon, 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 then you already on your way there. When you see a kid like that, that's 6 years old, that's already moving like that, and you're on the opposite team, you have to ask yourself as a coach and as a player, how am I going to stop that?
Oh, dear God. Yeah. At 6 years old, I'm pretty sure that I'd probably be shitting my pants. I would not be able to line up against that kid. I feel bad for any DB that is 6 years old that has to line up against that kid. Now, is this kid going to become the next LeBron James? Well, hopefully he does. Is this kid going to become the next Jerry Rice? Hopefully he does. I just hope that this kid makes the right decisions. That's all I've got to say. And I hope that the right decisions are not made for him by overbearing parents. That's all I will say about that.
Okay. Moving on to NHL news.
And by the way, just so you know, Alabama is up by 8 at halftime over Grand Canyon State, which I shouldn't consider an accomplishment because wasn't Grand Canyon State one of those universities that like have an infomercial at 2:00 in the morning on the Food Channel?
It seems like a Grand Canyon Prairie University State College. Hey, you know what? Sometimes, great teams slip up from time to time. That game being as close as it is, Coach, as an Alabama fan, I ain't worried.
Hey, if you guys lose to a more seasoned or a bigger enrollment DeVry University, I am going to give you shit for it.
Copy all. Moving over to NHL news, want to give a big congratulations to TJ Oshie, and I had to look up how to pronounce his name, for playing 1,000 games in the NHL. Fun fact, as of today, since 1917, in matches that have been played in Canada and the U.S. under the NHL banner, there have only been 393 players to play 1,000 games in the NHL. Now, this is TJ, his family, his wife and kids, and the rest of the Caps players. He's played on 2 teams prior to the Washington Capitals. He played for the team in Pittsburgh. And I was curious, the Penguins, what kind of feat it would take to play, or how many seasons that it would take to play 1,000 games in hockey, because I don't follow hockey that close. And roughly about
hockey has a 84 game. Oh man, I am echoing pretty bad.
Try talking again.
Yeah, I'm echoing, buddy. Oh, what's happening right now?
That's my fault.
Can you hear me
Hold
now?
on.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
No, it's my fault. I have to take the photo off.
Oh yeah.
You shouldn't now.
I got you. All right, not a problem. Yeah, I don't know why the heck I was echoing, but yeah,
it was my fault.
What I think it's so. I believe there's 84 games. It's 80 or 84 games that are in an NHL season. So you would have to play at least 12 seasons and play every game of the season. So you're looking at somebody who's played at least 12 to 13 years as a star. They will get to that time period. Hockey has a surprisingly long career. I mean, it's not like the NHL or the NFL, where at 32 you're basically washed up has been, and it's a little bit more like baseball, where it's not uncommon to see people in their 40s still playing. Messier, Yager, Gretzky, Hull, all of these greats played late into their careers. So that's why, you kind of see, even with the playing of 1,000 games, that's still 393 other players have gotten that feat of playing 1,000 games. It's a hell of a lot of people.
Yep. And you actually brought up a point that I had noted here. Hockey is a sport, professional hockey is a sport that you can have some longevity in the sport, as several of the players that you noted played a lot. The most records or games played was by Patrick Marleau, who played 1,779 games. And
Yep.
Patrick did that in, let's see how many seasons, 23 seasons.
Weren't they all with the Montreal Canadiens, I believe?
Nah, he played with three different teams.
Okay. All right, not a problem. I know Gordie Howe is on that list, but he also has a lot of games played in the WHA. The WHA at that time was not a sister league, but was a competing league in the 70s, and I believe maybe early 80s, kind of like how the original USFL was compared to the NFL. But yeah, the WHA was out of there, and that's how the Hartford Whalers came to be. And they were absorbed into the NHL, who are now the modern day current Carolina Hurricanes.
Oh, nice, nice. Hey, maybe some of that stuff will pop up on trivia. I was curious to see who has the longest record with a single team. And that record is currently held by Nicholas Lindstrom of Detroit, who has
for the
played
Red Wings.
20 seasons. Yep. And I believe Nicholas is currently still playing, right?
No, Lindstrom was playing. Lindstrom was playing in the 90s, back when he retired. Gosh, I know that he was on several of Detroit's championship teams. I want to say he was at least on 3 of them, but I am not sure how many he actually played for. But yeah, he was. I know that he played for the Red Wings his entire career.
Okay, yeah, that goes to show how much I don't know about hockey. Looking at it, okay, no, the current
and that's what happens when we talk about the WNBA. Oh, and shit, dude, we got a delay.
True that. It might be between you then, if you want to step out and come back.
Yeah, let me step out, come back, and that is kind of funny. King doesn't know white people sports.
King doesn't know white people sports. That would be a correct assessment. All right, so while Coach steps out and come back, I'm going to fire up another video that I had here. Let's see. Give me 1 second. Since the show's not going the way that I thought it was going to go or needed to go, I got to figure out how to make sure that I do this without any crazy echoes. Actually, how about I display this here? Tariq Hill has been in the news for a couple of situations that you don't want to be in the news for. And one of the most recent allegations that came about, we talked about his arrest on one of our prior episodes, or how the cops got called to his house, as well as he was papers had been filed by his lawyer to divorce his wife, only for it to be retracted and him say, "We're not divorcing. We're going to work this out." But I found this picture that somebody sent to me hilarious. Fun fact: during the 2023 NFL season, Tariq Hill got more women pregnant than the Carolina Panthers won games. That's just hilarious.
Well, we know one thing. He might be able to flip, but he can't full out.
Now, there is a specific person who I want to highlight, Coach, as I thought that this was a fantastic achievement. March Madness always brings about some very interesting stories. And one particular story is a young lady by the name of Audi Cook. Now, I have to bring up the notes that I had for her here. So give me uno secondo. So Audi Crooks, I put her name all kinds of wrong in the show notes. This is a whole struggle stream, but you know what? That's all right. We're going to get through it. Audi Crooks is a current freshman who plays center for the Iowa State Cyclones. She has started every single game this season. And she did something yesterday that only one other player had ever done in an NCAA tournament, and that was put up 40 points. And that was by the great Bill Walton. And Audi Crooks did exactly that in the Iowa State Cyclones' first game of the NCAA tournament by posting, and man, I was going to have the stats up here. My producer's running entirely behind, but you know what? That's all right. She posted up that feat yesterday in which Iowa State just blew out their opponent here, and I'm bringing it up.
Speaking of blowouts, UConn is up by 20 at the half.
Nice.
Let's see. Yeah, they're up by 20. Yeah, let's just leave it at 20. Or no, apparently there was a foul. So they'll probably be up by 22. Let's go see how the cousin fuckers and the Variety graduates are doing. Okay.
So Iowa State played Maryland in the first round, and Audi Crooks, who played 33 minutes, went 18 of 20, 4 from 8 from the free throw line, along with 12 rebounds and 2 blocks. The young lady could not be stopped. So I want to make sure that we take the time here at WTF Nation Radio and the Sports Bar to acknowledge that particular feat. It made me wonder, though, if you have somebody, so she's 6'3" and a big body down low, and I'm watching the way she's just bulldozing everybody out the lane and scoring at will, scoring with contact. And I'm like, how could Iowa State lose 11 games with somebody that is pretty much the Shaquille O'Neal of NCAA women's college basketball? Like, when you look at her video, it doesn't make sense that you have somebody like that you can utilize and they lose games, Coach. I'm trying to figure it out, man.
Well, let's always remember it's 5 players to a team. It's always 5 players that are going to be out there on the court at the same time. And you know, we can talk about Caitlin Clark over at Iowa. Iowa's got 3 or 4, losses right now this season. Caitlin Clark is like second worldly and the next coming of Jesus for the women's game. Yet they've lost. It's because basketball is a team game. If you can shut down and have decent interior defense against a large Bohemian center, if you're going to end up having a double team on there or scheme the way it's out there, and you have that double team, that center's got to make that cross court pass to that open person, and that open person has to hit the 3. You know, you can't require everybody to do one job out there. And if you do, they'll end up focusing just on that one person. That's why basketball is a sweet sport where not one person can just dominate. One person has to be there with another teammate. Wilt Chamberlain never won a championship on his own. Neither did Bill Russell. Neither did Michael Jordan. Neither did Kobe Bean Bryant. Neither did LeBron. Oh, and definitely never did Kevin Durant. let's say that right now. So yeah, there you go. You have to have a team. You have to play on the team. And that's about the only way that I could think of doing that, because that girl is a beast.
She's a
There
beast now.
There are some beasts in both tournaments that I'm like. And the NC State's got one guy who's like 6'5", 280 pounds. He looks like he learned how to play in a prison rec yard. It's fucking awesome.
I'm going to try to play this video that's going to have Audi Crooks talking about her play at the post-game conference, and it's going to have some highlights as well. Hopefully this video shows. Let's see if we can get this thing going.
I saw you before the game. You kind of were off to the side during warm-ups, and you kind of closed your eyes and kind of took a breath, took a moment to yourself. Sure. Kind of what's going through your mind at that point?
Yeah.
It's showing. Sorry. Thank goodness.
Before every game, I just try to take a moment and I pray, and I am kind of seeking guidance from my father. He passed away when I was 16 in 2021. So I just try to kind of take a second and ground myself and tap into my spiritual side and just know that everything's going to be okay, and he's got the best seat in the house.
Now, I thought what she said was fantastic. She spoke about her father, who is no longer here with her, to see her as she's going through her NCAA and college journey. She's only a freshman, man. Only a freshman. Now, she's not the type that she's put up 40 points regularly. As when I looked at her average, she averages 22 points a game and just under 9 rebounds a game. But as a freshman, if she looks and does the work to improve, I think she could be unstoppable just by observing the way she played, looking at the highlights of that last game. And Iowa State has a chance to run it back today. They're playing against, survey says, and I just had it up here. They're playing tonight. Kickoffs at 10 p.m. or tip-off. I said kickoff. Is at 10 tonight. They're playing against the number 2 seed in Stanford. And taking a look at that game, the Vegas line has Stanford winning by 13.5 points. So she had that monster performance against Maryland in the first game, but this second round is going to be a little bit tough because Stanford is a powerhouse. Do you think that Iowa State has a chance against the Stanford team?
No, and it goes against coaching. And there's part of my reason why. We were just mentioning about why basketball's a team sport. The coach will also make sure that those 5 players are there in harmony. And Stanford has always had a phenomenal women's basketball coach. Those teams have always been able to play as teams together and have great unity. So that's where I come from. They will have some type of defensive scheme where she's not going over 40 points again in another game, but hope she does, or at least tries to, and maybe knock some women over. Give me some Charles Barkley. What in the fuck? Okay, King.
What are we missing?
I have to interrupt right now. I have to interrupt right now because as I am watching DeVry Senior College and Alabama play in this NCAA tournament, I just got a glimpse of the jacket that the Alabama coach is currently wearing right now. Let's just say that he is looking like Bear Bryant in Forrest Gump kind of coaching attire right now. He is got a crimson sports jacket on with that it's like that old guy twill, and it's got the old, grandfather checkered pattern on this thing. like he's fucking Bear Bryant. You're the number 4 seed in the NCAA tournament, and you're playing DeVry's graduate school. Don't think that you're Bear Bryant yet. You haven't won anything. The ghost of Nick Saban's shit is still a better coach than you are.
Hey, Coach Oates has style. I've seen some of his suits. Like, he's known for that tweed, like not tweed, but it's got like the lines in it. Like, that's his style, man. I think it's dope.
No.
Hold on.
You're Alabama basketball. All right. You know what? I don't see Nick Saban doing that. This guy's never going to win a championship in Alabama.
I mean, hey, Coach, look here.
No, not like that. No. Looking at suits like that would look good. You got to see what this clown's wearing today. He's wearing a red, ridiculous daggone jacket. Like, yeah, he looks good in a lot of those suits. You see that? Not what he's wearing today. It looks like that. It looks even worse than that. There it is. Yes. That one. That one. Oh, frick. Like I said, he looks like damn that's the same one. That picture must look at it. Yeah. Where's the picture? How long ago was
it's from
that?
Today.
Yeah, from today. Exactly.
Yeah, it's from today.
Look at this freaking jacket. What the fuck is he wearing?
Hey, man, that jacket is stylish, brother. Don't hate. Roll Tide.
I mean, does he got like a 70-year-old or a 70 IQ Asperger's kid on the team that he's going to go roll out there and just start hitting 3-pointers? Okay, maybe. Nobody got the Forrest Gump reference? Fuck.
I did.
feel bad about that. All right, never mind.
There's a couple of things that had occurred in the NFL that I want to touch on real quick, and then we're going to get into our main story. So we do want to congratulate Aaron Donald. He's a Super Bowl winner, 3-time Defensive Player of the Year. Aaron Donald, ex-Rams defensive tackle, announced his retirement at the end of 10 seasons. He said, you know what? Vini Vidi Vici. I came, I saw, I conquered, I'm out. He is quoted as saying, I'm burnt out. The best way to say it is, I'm full, I'm complete, I'm satisfied with what I was able to do in 10 seasons. And in those 10 seasons, again, 3-time Defensive Player of the Year, 8-time First Team All-Pro Bowl, 10-time Pro Bowl selection, and he was the 2014 Defensive Rookie of the Year. He finished his career with 111 sacks, second most among primary defensive tackles in a career, behind John Randall's 137.5. And you want to always include that half sack in there just in case.
Yes, absolutely. LT had that record for a long time. Actually, I think 199 and a half sacks for a long time was what the NFL record was. That was set by Reggie White. When Bruce Smith broke his record, he was the first person to eclipse 200.
Nice.
Yeah. But now, this is one of those retirements that make people happy. Okay. It only makes... it makes the Los Angeles Ram fans sad, if there ever is any that aren't, bandwagon fans or, fake plastic people like everything else in LA. But that being said, there's a lot of people that are very happy that he is retired, specifically every quarterback that is in the NFC West, quite possibly every quarterback in the NFC, the vast majority of quarterbacks in the AFC, every single defensive coordinator in the NFL, and every offensive line coach right now in the NFL are unbelievably ecstatic that he has retired. That man was damn good. He is definitely going to be in Canton 5 years. I give it first year of eligibility. Hells yes. 3-time Defensive Player of the Year. One of the best of our time is what I would say defensively. He was one of the best of our time. Up for debate as far as all time, but there are plenty of players I believe that were better than him. But There's not many players that have the same exact amount of hardware that he does that aren't in the rarefied air of the NFL, like a Mr. Lawrence Taylor.
And I watched the video. Even though he won defensive rookie of the year as he accumulated 9 sacks that year, he didn't start the first couple of games for the Rams. And people are like, bro, coach, are you out of your mind? Everybody at practice, a lot of the sports writers and things were saying, yo, when you watch him at practice, when you watch the way that nobody can block this guy, why are the Rams not playing him in the first couple of games? And when they finally did wise up and not be stupid, he decided to let loose, and he never missed a single start after game 4 of his rookie year over those 10 seasons.
That's good, man. That's awesome for him. He was a phenomenal player. And, somebody like him, everybody hopes that they can draft somebody like him throughout the system. There are plenty of people. Here's a good one. The New York Jets are now about to sign Jadeveon Clowney, right? Jadeveon Clowney, from the time he got into the NFL, everybody knew this kid's name. Everybody thought coming out of Georgia, he was going to redefine the NFL. He was going to do all of this great thing. And as you can see, Jadeveon Clowney has been a journeyman, but is still a pro in the NFL. Sam Darnold was not as heralded as Jadeveon Clowney was. All of these defensive ends that came out, and everybody was like, oh, know them by name. They know them by name, but they don't know them by stats. They knew Sam Darnold by stats.
Aaron Donald.
Why do I keep saying Sam? I apologize. I do not wish that upon him if I keep calling him Sam Darnold. Yeah, feel bad for him on that one. Wow.
I don't know if you saw my eyebrows, but I was like,
wow, that was another Freudian slip. But Aaron Donald, with that being said, Aaron Donald is that great generational player for this year. I'm glad that he's retired now, and there's going to be that's what everybody should aspire to be within the NFL. Exactly just like he was.
Yep. On this past Thursday, the Detroit Lions decided to release veteran Cameron Sutton as he is wanted in Florida over an alleged involvement in a domestic abuse allegation. Now, this one was... it made me wonder, what was this guy thinking? All right. So Sutton is facing a charge of domestic battery by strangulation, which in Florida is a third-degree felony punishable by up to 5 years in prison. The part that made me raise my eyebrows was police responded to a call early in the morning at a house in Lutz, Florida, where apparently Sutton was staying at and committed the alleged abuse before fleeing the scene. The incident occurred on March 7. The Popos ain't found this man since. So he is running from the Alphabet Boys. Nobody knows where he's at. The Detroit Lions wasted no time in saying, you know what? We want no parts of this, and let him go. Sutton, who's 29 years old, joined the Lions as an unrestricted free agent last summer after spending his first 6 NFL seasons with the Pittsburgh Steelers. He started all 17 games for Detroit Lions, who had that magical kind of a season to only get to the playoffs and get bounced. But he registered 60 total tackles, 6 passes defended, and 1 pick. What do you think about that, Coach?
I mean, I can't fault Detroit for their action. There's a lot of things that have happened, especially with domestic violence. The NFL has been really cracking down on it, and we can always, I hate to say this now, it used to be people smoking weed, and, everybody in the NFL was mad about all the players smoking weed. Now it's domestic violence, and the domestic violence is the big key issue on it. It's a zero tolerance policy. and the NFL has been one of the harder teams on there. So them releasing him, I can understand that. The fact that they haven't found this guy in 17 years proves to me again that the government is just absolutely stealing our money. Every time that they collect taxes, they are stealing our money to provide us a service that should not be as hard as us looking up his Instagram history and knowing where the hell he is, somewhere in probably Canada right now. Give it Manitoba or something like that in that area. But man, strangulation of your wife or your domestic partner or whatever. Yeah, that definitely isn't a good damn thing. But I kind of find it funny that Florida itself has to have strangulation down as an actual law of what it is in a third-degree felony. You know, I mean, you got to think about it. There had to have been a lot of strangulations from meth heads in Florida in order for them to act in a specific freaking way of doing that. I mean, meth heads really don't have much money for anything else, so they've got to use what's available to them, and usually it's their hands if they're not completely scabbed over and full of track marks. So, yeah, there you go.
Coach, my lady is listening. I'm trying to convince her that Florida ain't all that bad. You ain't helping, brother.
All right. Okay. Wait a second. Now, there are certain parts of Florida that I think might be okay. Like, there's certain parts of Jacksonville, more towards the downtown, that I think are pretty okay. But then if you go a couple of blocks, it's not that great of an area. Then you go into another side of the area and it's actually really, really nice. And then you go to another side of the area and you're like, okay, there's Florida man that will be on the news tonight. So it just all depends on where in Florida you are. But just remember that much like in New York State, everybody thinks New York is just New York City and the 5 boroughs. The other 90% of it is filled with yokels that, do other things and are normal Americans. They're not all assholes like us in the New York metropolitan area. That's going to be the same exact thing that's going to happen over there in Florida, because I think you got the major cities and then you've got a whole bunch of daggone marshland right there. And there are some people that I'm pretty sure their family tree and their tree in their front yard do not fork.
God happened to be who's listening. That's my lady. Shout out to her. Said it is bad. And Pop Culture Warrior on Facebook followed that up with Tampa St. Pete is nice. Which, yes, Tampa St. Pete area is nice. It's one of the
I wish you would move to Tampa. Seriously.
Why is that?
Why? Because I can call you a tampon. Oh man, you gotta get on that soundboard faster.
I know. I was like, man, too slow to the draw. I got 2 other quick things to note here, and then we're gonna get to the main event.
Hey, before I get to the main event, I got to take a main piss real fast, man.
Okay, hey, matter of fact, you can go ahead and do that now. I will go through these 2 quick hit topics.
Thank you, buddy.
All right, so Trevor Etienne, brother of Travis Etienne. Travis Etienne is the current Jacksonville Jaguars starting running back. Has some pretty good years over the last couple of years. His brother, who used to play for the University of Florida, has since moved on to the University of Georgia, was arrested this past weekend over DUI and 3 other charges. Now, the University of Georgia football players cannot seem to understand that there have been some major incidents and stuff that have occurred. One incident fairly recently that resulted in the loss of life, yet they can't seem to get right. Now, I do understand that it is an individual's responsibility to know not to get behind of a wheel and drink and drive. Yet, I don't know why these young men can't understand it. All right. So Trevor Etienne was booked at 4:35 a.m. Sunday. So this is occurring over Saturday night in Athens Clark Jail and was released an hour after posting bond. The 20-year-old faces charges of DUI, reckless driving, failure to maintain lane, improper driving on the road, and affixing materials that reduce visibility of windows and windshields. That's out now. That last one, affixing materials that reduce visibility of windows and windshields. That sounds like a made up one. That's like if you want to pile on additional charges, that's just what you add to pile on to somebody because that could be like your cell phone holder, right? You can't have your cell phone holder like on the window with your cell phone near, as they can say that can reduce visibility. I've heard of somebody getting pulled over for that little scented pine tree thing that hangs down from the rearview mirror. I've heard of somebody getting pulled over for that because they got smart with the cops or whatever. So the cops decided to charge that person with affixing something to a windshield that reduces visibility. How crazy is that? All right.
That's
But the
pretty
DU, yep. But the DUI charge is had occurred as he could be convicted of it as it is classified as a less safe charge. So he could get convicted of it even if his blood alcohol is less than the 0.08. He had been projected as Georgia's top running back after transferring in from Florida, where he rushed for over 1,000 yards and 14 touchdowns. He was considered ESPN's top 200 recruit of the 2022 class. Georgia's executive associate athletic director, which sounds like a made-up title, said that we are aware of the charges and are currently in the process of gathering additional information. This is a pending legal matter, and we will not have further comment at this time. That's the opposite of what the Detroit Lions did with Cam Sutton.
Yeah, it is.
They
it
said
is.
we're out. But at least Georgia was like, you know what? We understand that this is a pending legal matter. We're aware of it, and that's all that we have at the current moment. But man, this is it. You got a staff member back in January of 2023, and that was killed along with Devin Willock behind the incident of Jalen Carter, who ended up getting drafted, in which both cars were traveling more than 100 miles per hour in downtown Athens. All right. So you hear about this stuff all of the time. We talk about it on the sports bar here at WTF Nation Radio. Henry Ruggs could have had a promising NFL career with all of that speed. He could have been the next guy, and he gets to Las Vegas and the Raiders and just blows it by driving and drinking, going over 100 miles per hour, thinking that you're invincible when you're putting not only your life, but every other person that is on that road in jeopardy. I'm sick of it, Coach. I'm sick of it.
I get it. I get it. And it's when we see these bad stories get highlighted in the news cycle, it kind of reminds us one of two things. Number one, it could remind us that these are just the extreme examples. But with how often we hear about these examples of mid-range to, somewhat commonly known players, you always wonder about the players that nobody really knows about and wondering about their struggles if they go through the same types of things too. And it comes down to personal responsibility and making those right decisions. This kid did not make the right decision. Ruggs did not make the right decision. This ETN kid obviously didn't make the right decision. And we know from what we've been through that these bad decisions sometimes have consequences and you have to learn from them. Now, that's not saying that this ETN kid's ever going to not play another game again. I think this kid will end up playing. I have a feeling that this kid will end up, either transferring to another school or somehow he'll end up playing. But I don't think it's going to end up screwing up his chances to be playing professional football in the future if this kid's got that much of an athletic, that much talent on him. If you want to say something about that, then I've got two people that Hall of Famers that can tell you different, and that's Allen Iverson and Randy Moss. They can definitely tell you different about having a criminal record and not being successful. So got to follow that type of example and hopefully find the way to make everything work.
Yes. Now, Coach, I'll add on to this. Actions like this could have a ripple effect, right? Because if you're a recruit that's looking to go to the University of Georgia now Georgia has a few player scandals over like the last couple of seasons, and you and I both know, as you and I both served in the military, that you could get to a unit, and if something happened just before you got to that unit, the morale can be a little bit off because now the commanders have to come down and be strict because they don't want to have any additional allegations come from people from that unit. So you're now coming down like the hammer. And for somebody that's coming into that organization, you're like, what the hell is going on here? I wasn't here when all of this crap happened. Why do I have to do extra bullshit because of what other people did? And what USC did was took advantage of that because they flipped a recruit who was the number 7 prospect in the 2025 class by having him decommit from Georgia to go all the way over to the West Coast for the USC Trojans. And you know what? I don't blame them. I also don't blame any other kid that decides to get into the transfer portal because of the bullshit that they're likely going to have to face, because all of these players are not making good individual choices and ruining it for everybody. Small example. I was in Okinawa, Japan from 2006 to 2009. Okinawa would have been my best assignment when I was active duty Air Force. Yet when I got there, I was on a curfew because there were other international incidents that occurred before I got there. So depending on what your rank was, you were given a curfew that you couldn't be out past a certain time period until you proved yourself. And then it was up to the commander's discretion to give you an unrestricted curfew. Now, the jacked up part about it, and the thing that made me mad, was that I get there as an E4, which is a senior airman in the Air Force, but I had already deployed like 4 or 5 times. I had already been TDY around the world in a short time span. So for me to get to Kadena and be given a curfew when there was a first lieutenant who reported the same day that I did, who never even sniffed a hint of active duty, but he's not given a curfew just because of his rank. I said something right there to my commander like, hey, I don't understand this. This don't make sense to old Smitty here, because I've already been around the world and proved myself wearing this flight suit and uniform in the Air Force, but you want to give me a curfew? I'm like, hold on, Commander, man, make that make sense. And he looked me dead in my face and said, it is what it is.
Yeah.
And even my ex-wife, who came there accompanied with me, she didn't get a curfew. She hadn't been outside the U.S. You mean to tell me that she ain't got to prove herself? Like, to me, like that, those kind of stupid arbitrary rules don't make sense, but it's what people that come there after the fact have to deal with.
Yep. It's stupid. And well, yeah, I would also say stupidity and then reactions made by stupid people that are in charge. Because quite possibly the stupid people that are in charge don't realize that the decisions that they make freaking consequences for absolutely everybody. I mean, I'm pretty damn definite that Baron von Prussian, or whatever his name is, Baron von Steuben, when he came over and helped form the entire United States Army, I'm pretty sure that it wasn't, as ridiculous as people showing up 15 minutes to a 15 minutes and to do some ridiculous bullshit by some people who can barely, light their own farts on fire, and they're in charge of a company or in charge of a battalion. Let's be quite honest. That's the way that most of those fucking people are. And those decisions, they need to realize that those shitty decisions that they make screw it up for everybody.
Thank you, Coach. Thank you. Now, let's take a pause to tell people that we here at the Sports Bar at WTF Nation Radio, we go live at 8 p.m. U.S. Eastern on Sundays. And as we said at the beginning here, there's other shows that go live as well. If there's a like button on your platform, hit that like button for us. It costs you nothing, and it helps us out tremendously. I also want to give a big shout out to the people that have commented while we have been live, and to also acknowledge that for the second week straight, our X live streams has been litty. I don't know what's going on over there, but we getting some numbers.
I'm still not getting on that fucking platform. I hate that platform.
I'm starting to like it.
I'm glad that we're getting people on there. Good for y'all that are checking us out.
Yeah, so for everybody
can they comment on there too?
Yes. Yes, they can.
So we would see their comments. Yeah.
But we do want to acknowledge and thank all of the viewers on whatever platform that you are watching. We appreciate you.
Hey, King.
Yes, sir.
King. Oh, I do have an update for you, my friend.
Don't do it.
We have an and one right now situation. Grand Canyon State has pulled into one. Right now, they have just stolen the ball and went coast to coast, got an and one, and they might tie it up here at 55 within this next several moments here. And everybody over in they have tied it. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I'm looking at it now too. And
I got the game up, man. I couldn't help it. I said, because I don't want to be blindsided by a loss. So I do have the game
you
up
see
on
this.
my phone.
You now see this clown's jacket. I mean, for crying out loud. That's why I had to say, what the fuck?
Stylish.
Jesus Christ.
All right.
But yeah, this is turning into a good game. So thank goodness for that. And I hope the Vigred school wins.
Man, if Noble Street University turns around and beats Alabama, I'm gonna. You know what? I'll be all right, because here's my excuse already. We ain't really known for basketball like that. We're known for excellent football.
Hey, Grand Canyon University is known for taking advantage of the freaking federal government and running a for-profit college. Come on now.
All right, so Coach, let's get to the main event here, and then we're going to close out.
I have some very strong opinions on this.
So I'm going to share my screen because I thought that the ESPN write-up was pretty spot on. So this was a write-up by Tisha Thompson over at ESPN 4 days ago. There's been some updates, but the Los Angeles Dodgers interpreter and longtime friend of Shohei, is that how you say it?
Shohei
Ohtani was fired this past Wednesday afternoon after questions surrounding at least a $4.5 million in wire transfers was sent from Ohtani's bank account to a bookmaking operation. All right. So this guy, Ippei Mizuhara, who is Shohei's longtime friend and interpreter, apparently incurred the gambling debt to a South Carolina bookmaking operation that is under federal investigation. All right. So when I first saw this, I literally shook my head and was like, oh, I don't think that it was necessarily his friend making those actions without Ohtani knowing what was going on. And if it can be proven that Ohtani knew about it, I think we're going to see the biggest sports scandal ever if it can be proven that Ohtani actually blessed his friend and interpreter to make those bets that he had made. But as of right
Now,
now,
go
MLB's
ahead.
like putting this off to the side, saying, no, no, no. He had no clue. This is nothing pertaining to MLB. This was a isolated incident in a silo, and our sport is safe. But I don't know, man. I'm not buying it.
All
What do
right,
you
all
think?
right. Okay, so this is something that I'm glad that we brought up the thing about the domestic violence with the NFL, because for a long time with Major League Baseball, it's been about cheating. It's been about, well, the integrity of the game, but more specifically, it's been about cheating with steroids. But always, and the original scandal of all time was betting. And it started in Major League Baseball in 1919. For those of you that don't know about it, I will give you a little history lesson. The 1919 Chicago White Sox, now infamously known as the Black Sox, threw 4 of the games of the 1919 World Series to several of the bookmakers in Chicago. A year later, or a year or two later, they were found guilty of it, and the longest suspension and most severe suspension in sports history happened, where 8 players, including Shoeless Joe Jackson, were banned from baseball for life. Pete Rose in 1989 was banned from baseball for life for betting on baseball while he was a manager of the Cincinnati Reds. He also and later admitted that he did bet on games that he managed, but never bet to throw a game or never bet to lose a game. Okay? A lot of these things go on to the over-unders, parlays, etc., of who's going to do what with what stats. So, Major League Baseball has a zero tolerance policy when it comes to freaking betting on sports. And this thing, with its biggest star who signed its most lucrative contract, has a chance of unraveling, much in the same way that a certain jackalope who signed a $275 million contract with the New York Yankees, and then the next year has an expose where he fucking admits to taking steroids when he was in the Texas Rangers, that goddamn scumbag Alex Rodriguez. But anyway, as I'm saying, the baseball cannot go through another situation like this. Since the last time big off the field type of scandal of this magnitude happened was back in 2014, 2015 with the whole steroid scandal that got Ryan Braun, got A-Rod, got a whole bunch of other players, Melky Cabrera, that whole fiasco. I don't even remember what the hell the company was called. But that's the last time that there has been anything. And since that time period, Major League Baseball has been trying to improve its image. Shohei Ohtani is one of the worldwide known superstars. If something were to besmirch the brand new, most famous Major League Baseball player with the most outrageous contract, doing something that not only has been people banned for life for, but we're still debating whether people deserve their spot in the Hall of Fame after being banned. To this day, 30 to almost 100 years later, they are going to want to keep this covered up, find every single absolute fact, and not go off of just assumptions right there. That said, this evidence is fucking damning. This evidence is coming from the federal government, not about this guy, but this guy is now involved in another situation with more nefarious people. On top of that, if you look at the actual evidence for when these withdrawals were made and these bets were made, there are 2 games in which Shohei Ohtani started and batted. In one game, and it was pretty damn close to this. It was a over-under of so many runs, and a bet was placed on the over, and Ohtani gave up 5 runs, and the over was covered. And then there was another one where another over wasn't covered or something like that, and then they lost that money. It was like a $1 million bet or something like that. Then apparently there was another game that he played that the line was low, and he bet on himself, or somebody made a bet that he would go over the numbers, and he went 2 for 3 on another day that he pitched, but also gave up some more runs out of there. Am I saying that Shohei Ohtani had a bad game just on the same time that those things are happening? Well, as of right now, if those wire transfers go to and relate to his game, that's the only thing I can say. He just had 2 bad outings, and he was also going through some elbow issues, during one of those outings. Oh, but that's not a coincidence to me. But I'm also not a forensic investigator. So I do not want to make my assumption sound like I believe that he was doing it, but there is some damning evidence that needs to be clarified, and fact-finding needs to be done for this situation, because if not, this is going to be a fucking massive black eye. This is going to be a bigger black eye than the Palace and the Malice. This is going to be a bigger black eye than the Baylor player shooting his teammate and then having to go out for the season. See, these are things that you guys don't even remember anymore, but this you will distinctly remember. Those are true tragedies that happened. This is going to be much, much worse.
Man, I'm trying to figure out, because there's a couple of different things. One of the sources that I read claimed that Ohtani did not know about some of these massive transfers. And I'm like, how rich do you have to be to not know that you have 500,000 taken out of your account more than once? Like, I want that kind of problem.
Now,
if $75 comes out of my account, Coach, I know about it.
Oh, I agree with you, man. And I 2000% agree with you. The fact that this guy, he also makes international money. And that's the other thing that we don't factor in. We could figure out how much he makes as far as his salary. And I think everybody here knows what his salary is now, and how the structure is. But the endorsement money and all of this other stuff, I mean, this guy is making money hand over fist within his league. $4 to $5 million missing out of maybe 25 or so, or something like that. I mean, when you get up into that kind of money right there, 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 missing, you're not going to really raise an eyebrow, because you still have an additional 20 left over. You see where I'm getting at?
Yeah, true.
But that being said, we also know several people are also fucking hawks when it comes down to their money like that. And they don't need to end up like Scottie Pippen or Dennis Rodman or these other ones who are in the poorhouse, like Latrell Sprewell and all them. So that said, it wouldn't surprise me. Yeah, soon to be Zion. Yeah. If that's the case, then either Major League Baseball is failing in their education of people, or Shohei Ohtani is not as responsible as $700 million would say that he is. And or number 3, all of this is turning into something fucking terrible.
Yes.
And he
yes.
didn't know about it.
Yes.
Now that's where I don't want to speculate.
Yep.
Now,
apparently those 2 boys were thick as thieves. Everywhere you saw Shohei, you saw his interpreter and lifelong friend. The part that made me go, I need new friends, is that this fool had been paid anywhere between $300,000 to $500,000 annually to go fetch Shohei bottles of water and just be there, be present, be his confidant, travel with him and things like that. Let me pay. Hey, all right, look, to anybody who wants somebody trustworthy out there, all right, my name is King Smith, graduate of the Business School of Mount St. Mary's. I have an MBA in Business Administration. I was in the U.S. Air Force, where I was trusted with our nation's secrets, as I had a top secret security clearance at one point. TSSCI, one of the highest that you can get, okay? What I'm trying to say is that makes me trustworthy. If you want somebody that can look after your day-to-day operations, all right, shoot me an email at theactualkingsmith@gmail.com. I will send you my freaking resume and whatever else information that you need. And we'll talk about compensation at this point. I got my passport, so I'm international travel ready. Let me know.
You're going to start getting emails from widows over 70 years old that have, like, you know, they left their business to their kids instead of leaving it to their wife, and now they're just living off of a subsidy. So, you know, they're rich kids. That's what you're doing. That's what you're going to end up getting.
If they're paying more than what I'm making at my current job now, I will entertain all offers.
Hey, but this guy did bring a practical skill.
True.
You know, he brought that he could interpret for him.
Mm-hmm.
That he could, you know, freaking maybe, you know, speak Japanese. I mean, can you interpret for somebody?
My phone can. I stood in a line today and I watched somebody from Japan at a gas station use his phone to talk to the cashier, and he was asking questions in Japanese, and then the phone would interpret it, and she would respond back in English, and the phone would interpret it back to him. They had a conversation right there. $300,000 for something that this can do.
So all those skills that you're talking about were just foiled by a cell phone. So don't even so there you go with that part. You don't have a useful skill that somebody can bring other than you can keep a secret, which so can everybody else.
Nope.
But
as any of all these other people that have been arrested for espionage.
Hey, keep a secret. To anybody who's listening right now, if you've got a picture of my face, go ahead and post it. Yeah, there we go. How about that for keeping a secret? All right. Other than you, CQ, you don't count. Anybody who is not part of WTF Nation Radio. All right. Getting back onto the subject, and I get what you're saying with this. This guy's getting paid $500,000. He should be trustworthy with everything, not taking your money away from that. There's zero way. It just doesn't pass a logic test with me that Shohei did not know that this guy was in there. But again, I am just stating an opinion right now. It's not fact. I am not condemning him. And look, if Major League Baseball clears him, I'm going to say it just in the same way that every time everybody says David Ortiz is a Hall of Famer. Yeah, he's a Hall of Famer, and he also admitted to doing steroids as well. Okay, so I still have that question mark with him. I don't have question marks with people who never admitted, never had any proof that they did, and on top of that, never, were charged for it, like Mike Piazza or Sammy Sosa or people like that. Regardless of that, he is going to be... Shohei is going to have to really fucking explain himself, and it's going to have to sound sincere. It's not going to have to sit like legit bullshit. He has to go through each one of these wire transactions, which they are many, and fully explain to it. So that said, let him explain to it. I hope he's able to explain to it, and I hope that MLB clears him of this, because if not, it's going to be fucking horrible. It's really going to be horrible.
All right. Now, before we go away from this, that's not the only distracting thing that came out of the Los Angeles Dodgers players camp. All right. I gotta turn the sound off for this. But there's a video of this South Korean actress that had the Dodgers players going, "Who is that?" I think my screen is being displayed. Yep, there it is. Let's take a look. Man, hey, they're gonna show. Look, they didn't even show the pitch. The camera just kept it on her the entire time. All right. And then it's gonna cut over to the players, and the players are gonna be like, "Hey man." Oh man, that's not the best one that I could find, but there was one where the players were all kind of giving each other the look like, y'all see that?
I mean, everybody does that. I mean, I'm just saying. Hey, and by the way, and that the thing that kills me is that was a regular season game, and now they're back at spring training this week.
Yep.
Major League Baseball does some stupid daggone things, and this international game is one of the ones that I really don't like. But I really do like that first pitch. My God, I'd be looking at that too.
I couldn't find a single angle in which the camera showed the actual pitch. They panned all up and down her during the throw, man, which had me cracking up laughing. Look at that. Look at that. Just panned all up and down. Didn't show the pitch. Don't know if the dude actually ever caught it. All we know is there were two distracting things that came out of that. Now, we had a couple of questions in the chat. Yes.
King, now, there are two things that are going to be pulled out on the state of Alabama this evening. Did you know that?
They're getting the dub. I looked down at my cell phone.
Now the first one, now the first one is that some perverted uncle is going to be doing that with their cousin, and then it looks like the basketball team is actually going to pull out a win.
Yes, sir. Roll Tide, man. Roll Tide, roll.
Oh God. Well, you know what? I am ashamed to admit this, but I actually had Alabama going to the Sweet 16. So I'm okay with this win. I just really wanted to give you shit if they were going to lose to Grand Canyon State University.
Now, WTF Nation Radio did not do a bracket, coach.
No,
but if we did, my bracket would have been bad and busted, as I'm at a 52% win rate right now, which is extremely low, but it is what it is.
I'm a little bit better. My losses, majority of them came yesterday, but those losses were not ones that were going to make my, like, right now I have 3 of my Final Four teams that are still in.
Nice.
And then I have 7, no, I take that back, 6 out of the Elite 8 that are still in right now. As of this game, which just happened, Bama wins 70-61 over Grand Canyon State University. Okay, I take that back. They're up by 9 with 35 seconds to go. But that being said, I'm still looking at, like, at most right now 13 out of the 16 for my Final Four. So I still have a chance. But I have to pull out a couple good ones, and I'm looking good right now on every one of them. The only game that I know I lost today was that Clemson one. So I'm okay with every other one.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of teams.
I take that back. The San Diego State Yale game is the one that I did have San Diego State going ahead because I had Yale. I had Yale losing that first game, but San Diego State was the one team that I had them coming back for it. So that's the only other game that I have a horse in the race on.
My Final Four consisted of UConn, Arizona, Purdue, and Kentucky. And Kentucky got waylaid by freaking Oakland in that 76-80 game. But my championship teams that I have Purdue winning over Arizona by like 9 points. So I don't have a chance to score high. but that's where I'm at.
I got UConn winning it. And by the way, I've got a little update on my personal old life. So I was watching, it was last week. So, when we weren't on, that Saturday before was the final for the Big East tournament, right? Okay. I'm watching the game, and this is, Dan Hurley's first time winning the Big East tournament. They've now won it. They're the defending national champions. Let's see if they can go on the run, etc. His father, Mr. Hurley, is down on the coach seat on the bench because they're playing at Madison Square Garden, and that's how the sitting is. And then right behind him, maybe about a row or two, are some little rugrats and fucking Danny's sister, Melissa, the girl I used to date in high school. I dodged a bullet. That's all I'm going to say. I dodged a bullet. I dodged a bullet, ladies and gentlemen.
There we go.
Dodged a bullet.
Now, let's close out the show with this. Taylor Swift versus Pink. I got Pink. In what format are we doing this, Captain Wayne Baconator? Which I'm glad that you're tuning in. Thank you. Is this fighting, wrestling, singing? I got Pink all day.
Pink, Pink was ghetto, and then was a skater chick, and then was like a rock chick, and then was a stripper, and then was Pink. And yeah, I'm pretty sure in every single one of those instances she can kick their ass. She can kick Taylor Swift's ass.
Sit in a
whatever. Yeah. But I will say this: if Pink ever tried to kick Taylor Swift in her ass, unfortunately, Pink will miss. Hey, by the way, is it somewhat ironic that Taylor Swift is dating an NFL tight end?
I heard somebody say that last week, and when I say the tears that flowed down my eyes when they said that joke, I thought it was hilarious. Taylor Swift is Queen Flatback herself, Flatback Supreme.
Hey, I actually have seen something that is on this TV right now, watching the Houston, Texas A&M game. I have seen something that is rounder than Taylor Swift's butt over here, and we see it all the time.
What's that?
It's the backboard.
Now, God Happened to Me brought up a point. So I'm learning ASL, right? So I can update my resume, coach, for ASL. And if there's any blind, great baseball player that could use somebody that's had a top secret SCI clearance and an MBA, reach out to your boy. Reach out to me.
Jesus Christmas, King.
Nice to meet you.
King, your Alabama education is showing.
What you mean?
So you're going to study American Sign Language so that a blind baseball player.
Wait, did I say blind?
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. A blind baseball player. Okay.
I said blind.
You said blind. You said blind.
Hey.
Now, I say this laughing my balls off at this right now, because if there ever was a blind baseball player, his batting average would be 0.01, because somebody would actually want him to get a hit. Okay?
You know that the sports books would likely make money off of that, though. Yeah. When will this blind baseball player get his first major league hit?
Look, he comes in. He comes in when you need a mercy rule game. Okay, that's when a blind baseball player. But King, aside from the blind baseball player, Will the blind fans who are watching the blind baseball player even know what you're saying in sign language?
Hey, man, it was a Freudian slip. The deaf, hard, was it
Remember,
hard of hearing?
skills that you can bring. I can bring American Sign Language to a blind person.
Hey, in 20 years, we gonna find the technology to make ASL relevant to blind people.
Right? I mean,
You don't know, Coach.
It's like being the official condom distributor of the WNBA.
Nice. If I had a hand clapping sound effect, I'd give you props for that one.
The official tampon of Major League Baseball.
Pop Culture Warrior asked, "What are our thoughts on Tyson versus Paul?" We covered that,
Brother, we did
2 live streams ago. We covered that 2 live streams ago. I think it's a farce. I don't believe that the hype that's surrounding it and the videos that we're seeing out of both camps are real. They're friends in real life, all right? As Mike Tyson is signed under the promotion company, or not signed, but he's like a partner in
he's
promotion company that
that
has promoted the Paul brothers past boxing things. So I don't think that they're going to, when I see boxing, I want to see people hit somebody with murderous intentions. Okay. And I just don't see those 2 guys, the friends that they are, the business partners that they are, actually giving us a fight in which they're both going to be out there punching with murderous intentions. Is it going to be a good draw? Absolutely. If I were given tickets, which the tickets haven't gone on sale yet for the actual event that's going to be down in Texas, but I can only imagine that the prices are going to be ridiculously high. Am I going to watch it? Depending on what time it is.
Oh, bullshit.
I'll tune in on
watching
Netflix
it.
and check it out.
Oh, we're watching it.
No.
I'm watching it.
I'm more interested in the highlights than the actual fight.
King, let me put it to you this way. This is how I host those pay-per-views. I will buy that pay-per-view, and then I will host a watch party.
It's on Netflix.
Then guess what? We don't need to watch a pay-per-view.
Yeah,
that's
it's on Netflix.
Right. It's on Netflix. Everybody's got
Everybody
a
can watch
Netflix account. We're fucking watching it. Come on now.
I don't think that I'm gonna now somebody watching it, if they have murderous intentions in their punches, text me and I'll turn it on. Other than that, I got other shit to do.
No. By the way, I do have to make a comment because I'm now watching this Houston Texas A&M game. This Texas A&M assistant coach looks like Willis from Different Strokes. He looks almost exactly like Todd Bridges.
Right now, that's the only game that's pretty close, it's number 1 versus number 9. So we could have another upset before today's NCAA men's tournament is done.
Yeah, because in UConn, 16 with less than 4 to go. They're in their TV timeout right now. So and then we've got one more game tonight, man.
Yep.
Thank God.
Final thing here. A lot of people were talking about James Madison, as James Madison looked really good against number 5 Wisconsin, but then they ran up against Duke and got blown out. They got spladled today. They got spladled today when they played against Duke. And I know a couple of friends who are James Madison grads. James Madison's like right down the street from where I live, and they had their gear on.
Hold on, that street's 84, and that street goes 75 miles from your house to where JMU is.
Yeah, I live in the DMV area, man. Everything's right down the road.
Down the road.
Everything's right down the road. If it's a
is it 84 or 76? Which one is or 74 that goes up that way? I can't remember.
It's 81.
81. That's right. 81.
Yeah,
goes back.
81.
Yeah.
It's right down the road. You know how it is, man. When you live in the DMV, Philadelphia is 2.5 hours away. That's right up the road. I'll go to Philly to Geno's for a cheesesteak and come back in the same day.
No, that's true. And as somebody who goes to Geno's every time he's up there, I definitely will advise everybody. Pat's is okay. Their bread is not the best. Their cheese is better, but you will enjoy the Geno's steak a lot better because that bread and that type of cheese that they use is a hell of a lot better on a cheesesteak.
Yep. James
But
Madison,
if you want to get the best one, you go to Tony Luke's.
Yep. James Madison is under 2 hours. I'd go there and catch a football game because the prices were, pretty cheap and it was right down the road.
Yeah, my brother played baseball over at James Madison, right?
I did not know that.
Yeah, that's how I know where. That's how I know where James Madison is.
Nice.
So his season started 2004. My daughter was born January 28th. It was, I can't even remember what my brother's first game was February 13th. So we took my daughter all the way up from Fayetteville up to to JMU to go see his first game. Also happened that my family was there, so they got to see the baby. I mean, but that kind of needed to do that,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Captain Wayne Baker that said it was like the Undertaker tombstone Wee Man. I saw this video and I was going to share it. It was of a midget getting time in a 40-yard dash. And somebody sent it to me and they said, King, this is what it must have been when you were playing football. And I could do nothing but laugh because I thought it was hilarious. That little midget legs was getting it though.
Are we allowed to say midget on air without getting zucked?
Well, we still got viewers, so it's like
all right, awesome, good. All
right, y'all. Look, this has been another episode of the Sports Bar here at WTF Nation Radio. Myself and Coach here, we come to you live every Sunday. And for those of y'all that be like, hey, we ain't seen y'all every Sunday. Look, life be lifing, all right? Next Sunday is the 5th Sunday of the month. We will be here live. Coach, you got anything going on?
I have nothing going.
Okay.
Wait, it's Easter.
Yes.
Is it?
I'll still be live. I don't celebrate Easter.
I think I'm actually going to be. I'm going to be home for Easter. So I just realized that I will be home for Easter.
Okay, so for those of y'all
determined
like me that'll be home for Easter and you want to tune in and talk some sports and with us, let us know. We'll be here and we'll look at doing a call-in show, but it's going to be a little bit different. We don't necessarily have the phone number for you to call in because I ain't set up for that. But if you want to come on and talk sports with us, 5th Sunday of the month, we're going to have a call-in show. Let your voice be heard here at WTF Nation Radio. All right, so Coach, that's all I have. Do you have anything else to close us out?
Well, now that I know that we can talk about midgets, let's talk about midget wrestling and midget sports and midget throwing, because we're not going to get zucked if we talk about midgets because we're still on the air right now. So good, now that we know that midgets can be said.
I have a never before posted photo that it is appropriate to post on social media.
Okay.
Of me. Here, I'm going to set the stage and then close out the show. If people want to see this, I went to a midget wrestling event in Oklahoma and have some hilarious photos that are appropriate to post and show live. So if people want to see those photos, tune in next week when we have our call-in show here at WTF Nation Radio. I am King. That's Coach. Thanks for tuning in. We're out.
Peace.